solution to the world's hunger. And here's this pirate-looking guy. Looks like he's getting about to get sick from the waves.
Everything's spinning around.
Yes.
The
world is spinning, Andy. So how do we fix it? Slow it down so we can all survive.
So I've been in business since 1970.
Right
off the bat, the first thing I get is the main thing. It's number one thing I've been getting like almost all my life. The world will starve if we try to do growing organically. You cannot do it. We will all starve.
Yep.
And then yesterday I was watching this show, which is kind of interesting. It's on YouTube, and it has to do with basically they were trying to tell people that farmers are really cool people, because this one guy says 40,000 acres of lentils, right? We grow 40,000 acres of lentils. We spray with this safe herbicide and a safe fungicide and this safe chemical, and it's all safe.
Yep.
And the lentils are really good to eat, and we're on top of it. And then they have and I'm going how and it's just it's worse. It's worse than ever now, because farmers are saying you cannot grow 40,000 acres of anything organically.
No, it's impossible. They've been telling us that for years now. The more chemicals you use, the better we're all going to be. Yeah, right.
I guess they've never heard of Deaf Smith Valley, because that's 40,000 acres.
Hey, Diggity.
Hi, Diggity Dank. You're going to have to show me your picture, Diggity, one of these days, because I have a feeling you're a long-haired dude with a beard. Am I wrong? Come on, say it. Say, yes, man, I have long hair with a beard. Yes? Did he say yes? Or he
no, he hasn't said anything yet. He's just sitting back there probably laughing his ass off.
He's being quiet.
No, here you go. Wrong.
Oh, no, I don't believe it. I can't see you with glasses and short hair. I can't see you like that. This just doesn't make any sense.
Oh, the pocket protector with the pens,
Exactly right.
Yeah. He's an engineer by trade. Yeah, that's it.
Is he an engineer by trade?
Actually, I'm not sure if he is or not, but I know the first show I did with Leighton Morrison, there was an engineer on, and he said, "This guy's making my head hurt."
So I started when I first started, it was a constant thing that you cannot grow organically and feed the world. When in truth, and then I read another study that says, it's true. We studied all these different things, and we came to the conclusion that there's no difference between organically grown and chemically grown stuff. And on top of that, you cannot grow things organic and survive. So I was going to tell them, look, let's do this. Why don't you get 10 acres? So another study says we took 3 plots of land. Yeah. Once we grew organically, one we do neutral, we didn't do anything to, and one we grew chemically.
Yeah.
We came to the conclusion that there's no difference other than the fact the organic one was not doing very well because you have to spray it with stuff. Our stuff, we sprayed it with better chemicals, and we controlled it and everything. So there's no difference. There was no difference whatsoever. So I actually wrote to the people who did the study, and I said, well, there's a few things wrong with your study. First of all, did you get an organic farmer to actually do the organic farming? Did you? Hey, silly Lily, right? Did you?
Pardon the dank, yo. Cheers, brother.
So they didn't get a person that knew how to grow organically. They just got these scientists just decide, and they, on top of that, says, well, what seeds did you use? You went to the nursery and you bought seeds. Great, wonderful. And so there are many problems with it. And the neutral one, I said, well, let me see. So the neutral, what do? You just stuck the seeds in the ground and didn't do anything, right? That's your neutral, right?
That would be 100% neutral, yeah.
Right,
but then what kind of ground are you starting with, too?
So they basically said the chemical one did so much better than the neutral one, and forget about the organic one because it didn't do well. And I'm going, what? So if it had been me, first of all, I would not have the plots next to each other. My plot would be 10 miles away from you guys, and the neutral one should be 10 miles away from you guys. Because anything around the chemical one is going to get affected.
It's going to get overspray and is going to get damaged.
It's going to get affected.
Yeah.
Secondly, you guys have no idea how to grow organics because you don't just stick things in dead soil. You have to amend the soil. You have to work on it. You have to do something to bring it back to life, right?
Yeah.
To get it growing. And then on top of that, you don't go out and buy crappy seeds that were grown chemically, and they even have a coating of a chemical on. They're so weak that once they grow, you have to start spraying chemicals, otherwise they're going to fucking die on you, right? Excuse me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Excuse me, mom. Is your wife there? Hi, honey. Sorry. And so and it's such a farce because the other thing I told him, I said, what you really need to do is test it for 10 years.
Well, yeah, a long-term study is what you would need to see how the soil improves, the biology improves,
right.
what they're spraying, their chemicals improving, spraying. Let's take a look at nutrient density. Let's take a look at crop yield, biomass. But they won't do that because they know they'll lose.
Right, and so it's they only did it that one season. See, that one season they grew. They went and bought like a bunch of carrot seeds and whatever it is, and they threw it over there, threw it over here, and threw it over there. And they're scientists. They're not farmers, you know. What they really should have done, should have got a farmer that's grown chemically. Okay, you do your thing there. A farmer that's known for growing organically. Okay, you do your thing. And we'll get some kids to do the neutral one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Kids grow from seeds until what? What did it say? What did it say? Grow from seeds.
So you find what you like and make a mom.
Right. So exactly right. So. And that's another story about genetically modified organisms that I could talk to you about that later. And I said, you will find in the end of 10 years, the guy who's growing chemically will probably be spending more and more every year to get less and less out.
Yeah.
And the food will be less and less nutritional. Whereas the guy who's grown organically would be spending less and less every year to grow more and more every year. And the food is nutritional. Test the food value of each one of them. Test the food value. See what, because I have to say, you get out what you put in. So these guys here, they do not, so they have chemical fertilizer. They may have like iron, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and maybe copper, right? Maybe iron, right? That's fine.
A little bit.
That's fine. And whereas the organic farmer would make sure that they have as much of different trace minerals, microbes, and everything as possible, right?
Yeah.
And so he would be spending less and less. That's what in those days it was called sustainable, but now we call it regenerative, which is it's the same thing. It gives you a clear idea that regenerative means that the place gets better and better. Things are living more. That's what happened. I get so excited talking about this. It's like on people's properties. On people's properties that I go to. You should see the places I've been going to since '84. People are going, "What the heck is going on here?" And then and I tell them, I'm not using any fertilizer here. You go, yes, you have to be using fertilizer. How could these things make how could the row? So I was the president of the Rose Society for a few years in a row in Florida. And I used to enter contests, and I would win first prize, and they banned me from playing. I said, it's not fair. So you have a purple thumb, you're not allowed to play. And the truth is,
purple thumb. Ooh, that's bad.
Thumb. A green thumb is, one thing. A purple thumb is like, holy cow, the guy, I look at stuff, I spit and things grow, right? Seriously.
Yeah, okay.
And so the whole study was not even, it was slanted towards the fact, it doesn't make any difference between chemical and organic. It's like saying nuclear power is safe, but ignore the radiation, the toxic waste. We're okay, right? I mean, I read something recently that nuclear power is the safest. It's going to save the planet because there's no greenhouse waste, no greenhouse. Yeah, it doesn't produce that, but you have a minor problem, right? They ignore that
nuclear waste.
Yeah, they ignore that minor problem, but it's totally safe, right? The same thing with and it's the same thing with doctors in the medical world. It's like, everything's totally safe. It's fine. There's the way it is. Other than read the side effects. And so, to me, and it's getting worse and worse because the only way, people are starving in other countries, only because they're trying to follow the United States model.
Yeah,
basically.
Well, and there is another part of the puzzle that we haven't talked about, and that's if in your store that apple doesn't look perfect or that potato doesn't look perfect. all the stuff that's culled is tons and tons and tons. And people around the world would eat that if they had access to it, and they don't. They just throw it out.
Of course, it's like we throw so much stuff out now that's perfectly good that could feed. I was there the other day. I was at the store. And I said, "Let me get this straight. You're throwing this away, and right across the street are some homeless people who would love to eat all this stuff. They would be so happy they could have a feast. Oh, we don't want to come over here. Then we have this traffic, you know." And it's really disgusting because we're doing everything all wrong, and it shows in people how sick they are, all the illnesses that they're getting. Now they're saying there's another variation of the virus. There will always be another variation of one virus or another going to attack us, and therefore we have to do more of this chemical into our body. The same thing with the plants. There will always be diseases. It's normal. One guy was actually fighting me. It's natural. He was saying it's natural to be spraying Roundup because that's the way it works. I go, holy cow! Can I tape that? Yeah, I was going to tape that. I was going to tape it and try to figure out how to get him to say it again. You know, and to me, what we need to do is we need to. If we grow organically, that basically means we stop using the chemicals. It basically means we stop polluting the environment, polluting the water, the air, the soil.
And killing the biology. That's actually the big one.
Exactly, the biology. And the biology doesn't just cover soil. The biology covers air. Biology covers water, right? Yeah. You know?
It's everywhere. It's the essence of life on our planet is the biology. We can't create a cell without biology. Like, duh.
And radiation. What does radiation do to biology, Ken?
Well, actually, it twists it up pretty good, but there is biology now that eats radiation.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just talking about normal biology, like our biology around the planet.
Yeah, it kind of screws it up. Just a wee little bit.
Right, not the specific biology that Mother Nature says, okay, we have to get it together to clean it up. It's not really found like a worldwide biology. Oh, we don't have to worry about radiation because the biology will clean it up, you know. It doesn't quite work that way.
No, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but you know, it does take time. But she's dealt with all the compounds before, but we don't want to kill ourselves any faster than we are, and that's why I don't use chemicals. I refuse to have, you know, them on my property. You know, there's nothing that they can throw at Mother Nature. She can't break down eventually. But are we going to survive what we're doing to ourselves before she can figure it out?
Right, and that's really the bottom line is that you know Mother Nature's got time. She's got time. We don't. She can do another millions and millions of years and try to do something different. It won't be the same. The biology that's here now will not be the same there because you can't tell Mother Nature just repeat it the way you did it last time. Just do that over again. She's
gonna evolve it. Okay, come on. She's gonna evolve.
The whole thing is gonna be changed. But for all we know, the ants could be the intelligent beings on the planet, right? You know, or the trees or whatever. You know, because I think given enough time, the trees will start doing things. You know, but the same thing. I was also too. It's interesting too. We talk about it. So yesterday I'm looking at a property and there are mushrooms growing on it.
Yeah, mycelium.
And the guy's saying, okay, what's wrong with my property? I want to kill all these mushrooms. And he says, on top of that, there are worms everywhere. There are worms everywhere. We have to get rid of the mushrooms and we have to get rid of the worm. And I was telling him, I said, you know, the mushrooms is growing because I've actually been putting it on your property. You know that. I've been telling you for years now. If the mushrooms are growing, leave them alone because I'm actually planting them for you. And to me, when I was young, I remember very distinctly looking at mushrooms and going, I like that. It means that it's soil, there's something living in there. And I didn't relate to the mushrooms and mycelium with psychedelics. But when I started doing mushrooms in psychedelic form, mushrooms told me that mycelium is the key to the mushroom growing. So if I can get mushrooms growing and the myceliums are going there, doesn't have to be psychedelic, but it means that there's something going on in the soil that should be happening.
Well, I know, and that's what we used to say around here. Like, I'm a country boy, and like if you saw mushrooms in the field, you knew that was a healthy field because there was life there. Because the mushroom is the fruit of the mycelium, and the mycelium is a later stage of biology. Like, I know that now. I didn't then, of course. But when you've got that, you've got a functioning soil system. It's life is there.
So this one guy then started dumping gasoline into a hole because he said the mushrooms it's going to kill. It's bad. Mushrooms are bad. All psychedelic. And I told him, I hate to tell you this, but there's like thousands and thousands of varieties of perfectly good edible mushrooms. There's plenty of mushrooms that will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Plenty of mushrooms that will kill you, but there are lots of also mushrooms that'll heal you. And the bottom line is that it's Mother Nature's way of telling you that there's something going on under there that's functioning.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it. Well, when I went to this one place once and there was not a single ant around, not a single ant, nothing with everything. And so it was so toxic that even the ants would not live there.
That's got to be pretty bad.
And I said, well, I am not even going to go on this property. And the people that came out were like, hey, how you doing? I'm going, holy cow, right?
Uh-huh.
I used to tell people, I can tell what the people are like. They're living there by the condition of their property.
Yeah.
Right? Real easy to tell. And so in terms of people starving, we're starving now because it's a deliberate thing. It's really a control thing that people are in our country are doing to other countries so that we buy their product, their fertilizers, their pesticides, their herbicides, their fungicides. The other issue too is that so we go to another country and we tell them grow all this one crop, grow thousands of acres of this.
Yeah.
Right? Just like that's what we do here. We grow 1,000 acres of lentils or 1,000 acres
monoculture.
Right. And whereas another country, the way they've been doing it forever, they grow as many different varieties as they can get, as they can grow.
Yeah.
And then so when we come to their place and say you need to grow this, basically they stopped the variety, the diversity that they're growing.
They stopped being able to feed the local population and then had to go to the store to buy what was on the shelf because it wasn't available locally anymore.
Exactly right. And so I was looking at this YouTube program that basically in India, people for centuries have grown lentils, all different varieties of lentils, the green ones, the red ones, the black ones, and there's a couple other names of products. They grew a wide variety of stuff, and only recently they've been sort of forced to grow one variety. And what happened was that recently they had rust came along. For centuries they've been growing organic, never had a problem. Yeah. Now they because there was a drought and so forth. So the United States says we will help you. We'll sell you, give you 1 billion pounds of this one seed, right? And you can grow that. Yeah. So they grew that. And they were wiped out by this rust fungus.
Mm-hmm.
And so this lady, Nana Shiva, really cool, said we need to go back to the old ways. The old ways was we have a variety of plants growing in one space, not just this or that, but a wide variety of stuff. So she's going around trying to come up with all the different old varieties that she can get her hands on and teach people the old ways. Forget about growing 1,000 acres of this. You want to grow 1,000 acres of all this, and 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 this.
Yeah.
You see? And so, and it goes back also to is that you cannot grow organically in dead soil. So that means you got to start paying attention to the life of the soil. You have to start paying more. So I think it's really odd that people in third world countries like in Africa or wherever, I don't know why I call it third world because it gives the impression that they're poor and hungry, but this is exactly true. But they have the resources already there. They have animals. Yeah. The animals like crazy. India, they have cows are sacred, right? And so and they already have the ability, the tools to turn that soil around in no time at all, simply by allowing their animals to do their thing. right? So
Well, I think a lot of it, Andy, is we've been taking too much of the crops off the field and not leaving enough organic material. Like, you think they haven't had, this isn't a new problem for them. Even when they were growing all these different varieties of crops, they could still, was it the best soil? It doesn't take just one season to wipe it out, or 2 or 3 seasons. So how long were they deficient before? And that's where we need to teach people. You have to, like, chop and drop. You have to have organic material for the biology to consume, to have the biology in the first place, let alone grow the plants.
So there's this one lady farmer, because in India, for example, men are the farmers, but this is one lady farmer who said the same thing. She said, my dad never just raped the soil. The earth. He would pick, and he would leave as much organic matter there to die. Plus, on top of that, he had animals. Exactly. He would rotate his animals throughout the property. He would, never throw anything away. Everything would always end up back in the ground again. And now,
do you remember back in the 80s? Like, I'm a farm kid, and we used to fallow fields. You would leave it fallow for a year, and do your other parts. But then let that ground regenerate again. Did you guys do that in the States?
Well, I would call it green manure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So one of the things I started doing,
we're doing it right here.
Yeah, one thing I started. What will this issue any chance of waking up a massive source? I can't read fast. Will this issue have any chance of waking up the masses to what is really going on in the world?
Yes.
Hunger will make people wake up.
That fear, they're going to fear going hungry, and that's what's going to wake them up.
Exactly right. So, it has to. It doesn't just happen in other countries. It should be here, right here in the United States. People are going to the store. They have first thing they do is they tell the gardener, rake everything up and throw it away. So that Mother Nature's trying to make soil, but you were not letting it. The second is they're growing vegetables. It's totally absurd because there's nothing in there that you can even hope a seed will grow. And then they're taught they have to go, and because it's organic, they feel we don't have to do anything. We should stick it in the ground. I got plenty of people that say, I just stuck it in the ground and it's growing just fine. Yeah, but you keep taking from it. You're not putting anything back in it because they keep it nice and clean, right? Mm-hmm. They don't use organic fertilizers. They don't do any of the things that normally a farmer will be doing. That's why I like the word farmer, because a farmer has totally. That's why I like sustainable, because that basically means we're setting it up, and regenerative is a new phrase now. But the farm is nothing leaves; everything goes right back into the earth. When an animal dies, okay, so you eat the animal, but you also return 90% of it back to the ground one way or another, where you grind it up. Yeah. I remember talking to this old farmer, organic farmer, said, we use everything. He was talking about soap. And soap is one of the basic tools your organic farmer has. And he would make it. He'd make his own soap. Yeah. So, and nowadays people have no idea. They go to the store, they buy chemically grown seeds, and they bring it home and they try to grow organically. Yeah. So there's a problem with that, right? Because those seeds are grown chemically, and they have none of the genetic makeup that the good seeds would have, which basically means they're resistant. They have all this ability to do stuff, whereas the chemically grown seeds are dependent upon being sprayed. Yeah. Yeah. Right? They won't. They just.
They're too used to going to McDonald's to eat, man. They got to just keep going to McDonald's,
Exactly. So there's a mirror thing going on here in terms of what happens. What we do in the soil is exactly what we're doing in our soil. Mm-hmm. Exactly what we're doing in our soil. And so I have to get it across to people that, first of all, the times are changing, and if you wanted to change in the right direction, you had better start looking for heirloom seeds. Those are the type you use. Or that's why I like going to organic gardening clubs, because people save their seeds and they say, I got this seed of that seed of that. We trade the seeds, right? We have a source of other types of seeds. I met this guy from Mexico. Says I'm looking for old varieties of seeds, and because I want to get it started again in my country. In Mexico, they used to have corn, all kinds of varieties stuff. They have a Mediterranean climate, so they can grow a wide variety of things. I missed that. I went too fast. You can't take it off and put it on. I can't talk. Yeah, right. I can't talk and read at the same time. I have to stop and go as above, so below. Yes, and that to me really says a lot because it's a basic law of the universe. It's a basic law of the universe. It's a cosmic law. As above, so below. In the beginning, I used to tell people, so you look at a tree, and the above structure of the tree is identical to the root structure below the ground, in the ground.
Yeah.
And it also works in terms of when you're growing things. If your headspace is in the right place, your food will be in the right place. So your headspace, if your headspace is out in Never Land and you don't have any idea what you're doing, you're under control of the people that says you got to buy this and spray, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, just take this. It's gonna be good. Just when it doesn't work too good, come back. I'll sell you this other stuff.
It's normal. It's normal to be spraying a pesticide. It's normal because that's the way it works. You use this and you get a bug. You have to kill the bug. You have to control the disease. Otherwise, you won't get your food. So here, buy this or buy that and use that. And so it comes back down to the very weird mind control thing. It's a mind control thing, basically. One of the things I like about me is I don't have a mind, so they can't control it.
Well, look at that thing you're wearing on your head. Everybody thinks you're a pirate.
Am I wearing something?
Exactly. And see, that's eating good vegetables. Like, guys, think how old Andy is, okay? And he's as big a kid as I am at heart. And I love the
I'm eating an empty bowl. Can you tell? Can you see it? There it is. That's my dinner. Salad, organic, of course.
It better be organic salad, Andy. Come on.
So, in terms of one of the things I wanted to mention, is, especially for pot growers, is basically pot is a medicine to me. It's always been a medicine. But it's not a medicine if you have to send it off to the lab to test for chemicals in it, or fertilizers, or pesticides, or whatever else people grow it in. See what I mean? Then it becomes a bad drug. Then it becomes a bad drug. Then you actually will have other diseases and illness that have to be attended to by a doctor who will give you more bad drugs.
And that's the system as it's set up. That's the same system for us, our physical forms, as we're doing to our crops. And it was supposed to be our crops and the biology pulling the minerals, etc. And then us eating, or our animals eating, we were supposed to be getting those. We're not. And they just, here, just take this. Just like telling the farmer, here, just spray this.
So it comes down to basically your consciousness, where your headspace and consciousness to me are the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't understand why you're sick, then your headspace is not in the right place, because anybody can tell why they're sick. When I get sick, I automatically know what it is. I mean, I tell people I'm allergic to junk food. It's as simple as that. And junk food is 99% of the time out there. Everything's 99% of it's junk food. I'm lucky if I find that 1% of something grown organically without the chemicals that I can eat. That's why I try to cook myself, because I know what I'm getting. And so it comes down to people need to be aware. First of all, there are different kinds of drugs, right? And there are drugs that enhance you and expand your consciousness, make you aware. And then there are drugs that numb you down and shut that consciousness off. Sugar,
number one.
Right. So sugar is actually you're correct, because I was telling somebody, I don't know if I told you guys about the added sugar. Did I talk to you guys about that? So when I go to the store and I buy something that's grown organically, I look at the back. If it's added sugar, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
If it's got added sugar to it, I was talking to the doctor. The doctor says, we do not need sugar. You
At
don't need
least not the chemical sugar.
Sugar
Okay,
and salt.
Yeah.
Are the two things
Salt
we
we actually do need. I won't agree with that one. We do need salt.
We need sugar too. We actually get sugar from a variety of other places. The body uses
natural
sugar.
sugars.
Yeah, our body uses sugar from a variety of different sources. Actually converts things into sugar. Basically, I think the doctor was saying you don't have to go out and eat sugar. We make it ourselves. Same thing with salt. There are lots of different ways that salt's in the food that we normally would get. It's salt to me is a mineral.
Yeah.
See, so you need the minerals. Salts are like chemical fertilizers are salts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Magnesium sulfate is a salt. Right?
Yeah.
Calcium is, all these things are basically salt. So we do need them, but what we're really talking about is man-made added sugar or man-made salt. The salt you buy in the store, and I have this argument with and not an argument because I stopped arguing with people that are incredibly idiots. Martial artist.
Martial artist.
Martial art. There you go. I was going martialist. I was talking to doctors keep coming up to me for some strange reason, and so I was talking to this doctor, and he says salt is very bad for you. Coffee is really, really super bad for you. I go, well, I hate to tell you this, but the chemical salt we humans make is toxic. Salt in its natural form is not. Coffee, coffee is one of the most, next to cotton, there's at least 70 to 80 different chemicals in salt and coffee from between spraying and whatever else they do, herbicides, fungicides, you name it. Those are the things. The same thing with tobacco. American Indians who were smoking tobacco for thousands of years, they did not get cancer until recently. And that's not because of the tobacco.
It's the chemicals and the filters are bad.
Right. It's the chemicals that go into the tobacco and the chemical that the filters are made from. So I buy this tobacco. This is a free ad from Native American Indians. They sell the leaf, the tobacco leaf. I take the tobacco leaf up and I use it as a liquid I can spray, or I can basically use as a deterrent for animals. I pretty much stopped doing that because what happens every time I use it, I was getting nicotine into my system. And so I said, where are you getting the nicotine from, son? I said, oh, shit. So I stopped using it because it's a little bit too strong, even if it's natural. But that's where your cancer comes from, is the chemicals and all these products that are not natural. They have so many different chemicals that we add to it in the process of getting it there. That's what causes the cancer. And to me, cancer is a byproduct of your biology being out of whack in your body. Yeah. Right? And it's the same thing with the soil. There are many different kinds of cancer that the soil gets or the plants get because the biology is off. The biology is not there to control. As I said last show, we have all these diseases and stuff in our bodies, but it's the biology. Same thing with the soil. There are diseases in the soil, but it's the biology that controls it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like you have cancer cells, but you don't have cancer because your biology hasn't turned that on. And it's the same with our plants. They get sick and have a disease. It's exactly the same. If the biology is strong, they don't show that, but it's there. It's always been there. It'll always be there. And they keep mutating to try to break out.
And it's really weird because the modern man has gotten so far away from the biology, they don't even acknowledge the biology is there. It's truly an invisible. I was going to say invisible gardening, but because biology is an invisible gardener. You don't really see it, but it's everything in our body. We don't really see it, but it's functioning. Yeah. But because we don't see it, we're not aware of it for some strange reason, and therefore it's not real. And therefore we do everything we can in our power to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
See, right? And my idea about saving helping people from starvation, hunger and stuff is let them grow their own food. Leave them alone. Quit telling them you have to use this fertilizer. Quit telling them you have to use this pesticide or this fungicide, this herbicide. People should say, I really not interested anymore. I'm not interested in what you're telling me because you're lying to me. You want me to buy from you those products. And it's a loop that I will never get out of, like a drug.
Yeah.
Here's some cocaine. Do a little bit more cocaine. You want some cocaine? Here's some cocaine or heroin, whatever. You want it, and keep it going, and that person keeps taking it. It's never going to stop. You have to basically say, no, I'm done with the cocaine. I'm done with the heroin. Not going to happen anymore. When every time I go to the VA or Medicare, and I don't care what if there are any veterans here, you'll know what I'm talking about. They give me so much drug. It's yours. I get it in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember I told you the last time I went to the VA and I was telling the guy, oh, let me get this straight. You want me to do this drug, and this drug? Do you want me to do it all at the same time? You want me to rotate or what? And I don't do any of those. And to me, there's one particular one that has like 30 different side effects. I'm reading and I'm going, holy cow. Those are worse than the problem you're supposed to have in the first place. It's identical in the agricultural business. It's identical. Take all these drugs. They don't call them drugs. They've gotten it down a little better, right? That you really need to spray this or spray that, right? They don't call them drugs because that's what it is. It's a drug that we're constantly.
We need to be spraying biology, and actually. I don't know if you heard about the train derailment up by, I think it's in Montana, where sulfur went into the river. But I think that's where Diggity Dank's at a town meeting right now. So fight for the biology, man. That's how we're going to solve it.
Right. And we have no idea. We produce so much toxins, so much toxins that we have to figure out a way to deal with it. And constantly I'm reading about, this spill, that spill, the pipe spilled here. We did this, we did that. And going, yeah. And always everything's fine, right? Everything's fine.
The infrastructure is strong, Yeah, we're all good on this rail stuff,
It's identical with how they treat our bodies. And so there has to be an internal revolution that people have to say, okay, enough. I am not going to listen. And you almost have to say, everything's a lie. Everything is a lie that you've told me. And I'm not going to listen to any of that lies anymore. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start growing my own food. I'm going to get organic heirloom seeds. This lady says, look at these great seeds I got. And I opened up and they were blue, right?
Covered up. Yeah, I get those up here too.
Yeah, they were blue.
Are you seeing that, Andy? Am I really slow? Am I?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I'm gonna jump off and jump back on. I think I'm getting.
I don't care if you jump back on again. This will be my show.
Okay, bye.
I did it. See, I actually did it to him. I have this button that makes him go slow, and now I'm all. Welcome to my show, everybody. Let me tell you, where you can send my money to. And it's really very bad. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And I tried to yell at one time. Oh, are you better now?
I can actually move now. So yeah.
I was telling people that in the beginning I used to be the sky, with the little thing, the sky is falling, and they will all say, oh gee, there's Andy again in the corner, half naked, saying the sky is falling, sky is falling.
Yeah. Were you a Hare Krishna at one time handing out flowers in the airport? I mean, come on.
Actually, I lived with it. I visited the Hare Krishna a lot. You know why? It wasn't for the religion. It was the food.
Oh, or the chicks, one of the two.
Well, the chicks were hot, but the food was absolutely amazing. Totally organic, no meat. They meditated to the food. I would eat the stuff and I go, whoa, hey, good, give me more. You know what I mean? And that's the reason I said, don't you want to live with us? Don't you, no, I'm here for the food, man. I'm just here for the food, the good vibes and the food. Well, yeah, I meditated already. I've always been meditating. So I get along with Hare Krishna people. I do the mantras, the whole thing. That's cool. That's fine. I love that. I used to belong to so many different groups that I would go from one group to the other group. When I was young, I was Catholic, right? And I went to Catholic church, Catholic school, not church, but school, Catholic school, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember one year I went across the street to the Jewish synagogue. I'm sitting there, and this rabbi comes up to me. My son, what are you doing here? You're Catholic. You should be over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, show me. I said, isn't God here too? And he's like quiet, and he's looking at me. Show me one place where God isn't. So if he's here, he's there. What's the difference, right? He would take me back across. You belong in the Catholic place. And I used to go, yeah. And that's how it started. I was going, wait a minute. And so I've always been that way. And to me, and that's why I like the Hare Krishna. I was actually thinking of moving back to Gainesville, which has the largest establishments of Hare Krishnas in the United States.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about getting good vegetables.
No, not at all, because they have a big giant farm. They understand either inherently or they actually studied it, the biology. They understand that they have to have a living soil. That's one thing. The reason why they love me, because that's exactly what I'm always talking about. Is you have to worship the soil. You have to worship the God in the soil. You have to worship Gaia as a living being. I see her as a living being. As living, she has a consciousness. She has and it's basically a what it is that we as individuals, we have a little consciousness and a large consciousness. Okay, the little consciousness is the individual being, the large consciousness we are one, right? Yeah. Well, the Gaia is basically the same thing. Little individual consciousness are my microbes. One consciousness is not the earth. The earth is like a microbe, because one consciousness is the universe.
The different sizes, the different steps, but then we're getting back into fractals, Andy, because it's all of the same thing. It's a synergistic relationship, and time and space, is there really meaning there?
Guys, I want to do a show on fractal. I want to show you the formula, and I will go over everything for you, because it will blow you away. When I first heard about a fractal, I realized that it's a representation of, quote, God. God to me is not the right word, because you think of a big guy standing.
I say source myself.
Source. And a fractal is the universe basically is a mathematical formula. It's it's all about mathematics. That's why quantum physics, the first quantum. I read this a long time ago. In India, you have these gurus and stuff for centuries, right? Yeah. And they taught quantum physics. Mm-hmm. They really did, and they knew about structured water, right? That's why they would go to the sacred places where the water would be at, and they would drink it, and they would say that the genes and the ancestors are in the water, right? Yeah,
and they are,
right? And they realize it's all about energy. Some places you go to, you'll see that Mother Nature naturally swirls the water and makes it structured water. You drink it, you're drinking the structured water, which is holding the union, the knowledge. Remember I told you about cosmic energy, how it goes through the earth?
Yeah. And just refracts, and that's how we get genetic changes. That's where your work with crystals and writing to the water is so important. We can all make those changes. We can create structured water in our own homes, just with our own bodies and our thoughts.
Easy. I like you, because that's exactly, see, when I first started doing structured water, well, actually what happened was that I told you guys I started doing Bach flower remedies because I really liked what he said. He says, that plant has an energy. I'm going to take that energy and put it in this water and make this mixture and then sell that mixture. Mm-hmm. I go, cool, right? I said, because the energy is energy. It doesn't make any difference what you do with it. And it's the water. The water was the key to it. And then it goes back to, I said, wait a minute, we're 99.9% water. So, that could be water in a glass or water in our bodies. Same thing.
Or water in the ocean, or water in the air that surrounds us, or in the ground that feeds our plants. Now, we don't actually want to give a yes or a no to any product like that, because that gets us into too much trouble.
I didn't read.
Kagan water. It's a water maker.
I never heard of it.
It's a water maker. There's a couple of them. There's the one from Japan that you can buy that will actually put the water. I think it's in 7 or 9 different states, from different levels of alkaline. You can use it as a cleaner. But Kagan water is one that they're talking that it creates structured water, and I don't know that it works because I've never owned one. So
there are many devices. One of the interesting things about this is that, see, your consciousness, you hit it on right on the nose in one level. Your consciousness can create conscious water, structured water, but you can also get physically. If you're a scientist, you can create devices that will create structured water as well, because it's really a physical. It's basically, if you create a device that manipulates the water, you can create structured water. You can create structured water with your brain, your mind, because the mind, the consciousness is a very unique product in nature that can do a lot of things, and it's connected to the way. So the way I make structured water is I actually use I don't like to say my mind. My body automatically visualizes the frequencies and the energy going into the water. I actually visualize the water as a hard drive. This is my
as a hard drive. Okay, cool.
This is a trick that I learned a long time ago. I says, well, it's a hard drive. I'm going to erase the hard drive and I'm going to write to it.
And write love. Okay, like I use marbles. Okay, just a funnel, put marbles in them, and I pour the water, my drinking water, over the marbles and break it up. You did that twice. You could literally taste the difference after you did that one time, but you're taking it to a different level on the energetic and focusing your intent. And you can write love on your water pipe.
So that book, the image of water
from the guy in Japan who was freezing the water.
And that's what he did. That's what he did. He took an electronic picture of the water before, and then he would write love on it and put on it, and see how it changed, or we would write hate and put on and see how it changed. The writing focuses our consciousness.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You
can write love in Japanese and not know it, and it wouldn't work as well because you don't know. If you know Japanese, that's love, right? See what I mean?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
When you think of love, your consciousness focuses. When you think of hate, your consciousness focuses. So you can get an instrument. There are lots of instruments that you can buy that will basically manufacture the frequency and write the frequency to the water. And there are lots of frequencies that will clear the water. Yeah. So I go back to it's a hard drive. We can, if you think of it as a hard drive, it's real easy to say, okay, I'm going to wipe it clean. Right? Wipe it clean of any bad energies, any bad frequencies. It's going to be just there. Wait, and basically, you know why it's called structured?
Actually, no, I don't think I do. I know why it's called structured.
Okay, so if you was to get a electron microscope and look at it, you would find that water. Leighton will tell you about this, but it's the fifth stage of water. But basically,
okay. We actually had Gerald Pollock on, where the negative and the positive. You have the negative, the inside forces all the positive atoms to the outside, and you have EZ water in the middle, which is creating a flow. Yes. Now I understand what you're saying.
The way it creates a flow is that they're lined up. Structured water is actually a structure.
It's a maglev train.
Right. Exactly. Right. Right. And so when you have water, like for example, that goes through pipes, that goes to houses, or water that we buy in bottles, here's a funny example. So you get spring water, which is already structured. You unstructure it by putting it in the bottle.
Plastic bottle anyway.
Right, putting it in the plastic bottle. Exactly right. So Mother Nature, it's always constantly structuring water through electromagnetism, to whatever physical forces.
Yes.
It uses. See, right? And so the consciousness is also a physical force, but it's a force in a slightly it's the fifth stage of force, right? If you think of it, fifth stage of water, our consciousness is in the fifth stage. You can actually manifest. That's one reason why I tell people, be careful what you think, what you want, because you're going to get it, because we manifest. It actually becomes a physical. So
I tell my wife, quit worrying about that. You're going to cause that. Now stop already.
And that's your mind. Your mind your consciousness generating these waves of frequencies that manifest in a physical form. So you can do that to water. You can say, okay, it's a hard drive. I want to clean it. Or you can buy structured water that's already been structured. The problem with that is you have to look at it and say, well, what kind of structure is it that they so it depends on how.
It's like a crystal. Okay, you can get crystals with really bad energy, and you get crystals with really good energy. And if you know what the heck you're doing, is what you're wanting to do with the water is you clear the crystal to get rid of the bad energy, put the good energy that your intention is, and that's what we want to do to the water.
So one of the things that I do when I do my gem elixirs, and I guess there's no secrets, but this is something I developed over the years, is that basically you have to clean the gem. You have to clean the gem, have it just be that pure energy of that vehicle, whether it be a gem or a rock or a crystal or whatever. It has to be that pure energy.
Or your water.
Exactly, or the water, right. And so I basically clear it. And there are lots of different ways I clear. I've learned that a certain frequency, certain energy, that's what they do. They clear it. It clears everything out. It brings everything back to its normal state. The frequency that the sun gives, for example, the frequency that the sun gives, the frequency of the moon, as a way of clearing. So a lot of people would take gems and stuff, put it on the sunlight or in the moonlight for it to clear it, right, to clean it up. But that's also your headspace, your consciousness doing the clearing, using that energy to clear it, right? So
it's like saying I'm going to hang my black blanket outside in the sun to dry, and it's going to clean and purify my blanket. It's part of the mindset that is cleaning and purifying your blanket.
Exactly. And you also put it out there in the right time of day. You don't put it when it's raining, when it's a storm or there's a dust storm. You try to put it under the right conditions. You automatically, when you think of the sun, you think of as life-giving, wonderful energy. You think good thoughts about that, and automatically you're channeling you're channeling that energy into the blanket or wherever the crystal is and putting it there. So that's just one stage of it. So the other stage is I say, okay, for example, when I look at you, when I look at people, there's an intent. The reason why I'm doing this. Why am I doing? What is it I'm going to do with it? Like when I write music. So I learned a long time ago, certain frequencies affect people a certain way. So I write that for that. I can actually write a music for you that would affect you. Because I can tell what frequency you are.
You keep sending me Michael, and I'm waiting for Ken to come up, But I've been meditating the last few days. What I've been doing, guys, is I go to SoundCloud, I look up the Invisible Gardener, and he's got a ton of music.
900.
And I start and I just put it on continuous and random, and it just plays Invisible Gardener while I meditate.
And so. To me, what I learned is that there's certain physical things you can key into that's really cool. Sound is a perfect example. Music is a perfect example. You don't see it, right? You don't feel it, right? You don't touch it. You don't drink it. You don't, right? But imagine if you were able to put the frequencies into the sound, because that's what it is. I've learned how to hide the frequency within the sound. Every note, every tone that's there is a frequency. It's like a collage of frequencies. Right?
Yeah.
So when I first started doing music, I would do like 472, which is the cosmic frequency. People would hear it. What is that sound? It's off. Oh my God, I can't stand the sound. Right? And their little brain would fry. So I said, okay, I have to do a different approach. So what I do was
that's so nice. Their little brain will fry. Yeah. Okay.
So I would do subliminal. I won't tell them it's in there. It's in there. Okay, it's in the music.
Yes.
And so what happens is that certain things I've learned to train the mind to listen to. The mind goes off on listening to that. It's called. And there are different people now that teach you how to train your mind. And these are simple techniques that you do. Like when you're meditating, if you're doing this, your mind's going to be watching your fingers doing that, and you could do something. And you can do something else because your mind's paying attention to this body. That's why when I have music, you hear the beat. Your body's going, ah, right?
Yeah,
And that's a
yeah.
beat that your body is paying attention to. Whereas the mind says the physical parts. Your mind and your body are doing the same. Whereas your brain, your consciousness is listening to those frequencies.
Yeah.
It's actually going, wait a minute, look at that. And so I learned a long time ago that you can actually take music, because you can do that with anything. You can just take a frequency. So give you an example. So a ruby has a certain frequency.
Yeah.
The way the ruby's supposed to. It doesn't matter if you have a 10-carat ruby or half a carat ruby. It's the same frequency. A lot of people would say,
so it doesn't matter if it's
ruby
cut or polished or anything. A ruby is a ruby, and this is a ruby's frequency.
Right. So the ruby has a slightly different frequency when it's cut.
Okay.
It depends on the consciousness of the person, the intent when they cut it. You can cut it to come up with a certain frequency, right? Or if it's a raw stage, it has a different frequency, right? And when it's in a raw stage, right?
Right. So, yeah, it has its natural frequency.
Right. So when I work with gems, because that has been cut to a fine-tuned frequency.
Yeah.
And it all depends upon what happens. I've been able to buy. I'm sorry we're getting off the topic, guys, but this is all about energy and you know, you just have to go with the flow, guys. You just have to go. You have questions, fine. So, but it has to do with intent. It goes back to intent. Intent, it means when you decide to do something, right? What is my intention? And you focus on that intention, that means your brain, your consciousness focuses on that, and it becomes real.
Yeah.
Right? It becomes real. So to me, when I took gemology course and how to cut stones, how to cut gem. It doesn't say in there at all, if you're going to cut a gem, you have to cut it this way. There's a certain shape you have to cut it in, right? They give you the names of the shapes, right?
Yeah.
And I go, well, that's fine for you guys, but when I cut it, I'm cutting it for the certain frequency. I actually can see the frequency and hear the frequency. Oh, look, it's perfectly tuned to the frequency that I want, because you can change the frequency by the structure of the gem, how you make the gem, right?
It's like a carving in wood. You can make it. You can see that figurine in the wood and pull it out. Now, somebody does have a question. Why was the frequency of music set to 440 hertz?
No, 440 hertz is just one of the frequencies. You can set it to any frequency you want.
I think he's talking about most modern music is set to a frequency that isn't what it used to be when Bach and Beethoven. It was a different frequency. It was more in tune with nature, and the one they're using now is actually interfering with us.
Again, it comes down to the musician.
And they say Lennon was actually shot because he went back to a natural frequency on one song.
So there are certain frequencies that are harmonious with a human body, with nature, and so a musician who automatically start playing that because it feels good and everybody's smiling and happy about it. They will play something else and they go, well, I guess I better not do that. And so certain combinations of notes and stuff, instruments play a bit different, whereas a violin or a horn, you can only use certain frequency with those instruments. Nowadays, I use a computer. I can tell it whatever frequency I want to, because basically what I do is I buy frequencies from other people who sell it, monks or whatever, they sell this tone. If I had the studio, I could play the tuning forks to certain frequencies, take that as well, you know. But what I do is I take music and I put the frequency on the music. So music is a wave, right? So I learned a long time ago that reality, scientists are saying it's either a wave or a particle. It's not both. That's what they would say. It's not both. Well, guess what? It's
actually energy, frequency, and it's a vibration.
Well, by particle, I mean it's a particle. You know, a physical particle and a wave. And they're saying it can't be both, but reality is it's both.
Yeah.
It all depends upon the person who's the conscious, who's the observer. One of the things about quantum physics is it all has to do with the observer. That means what you perceive it to be. You get a million people, and they all will perceive it differently. It's the observer. So when you look at and quantum physics changes according to the observer.
Yeah. Have you talked to Leighton about Thursday or Thirsty Thursdays when he was taking microscopy with Elaine Ingham, and the students would come in on Thursdays looking forward to they come in on Friday after drinking on Thursday, and the results when they looked through the microscope were different because their mindset wasn't there. They're writing their reality into the microscope for what they saw. That's where we need to clear ourselves to see what's truly the reality of the situation.
Right.
But
So
we're at an hour, Andy.
Oh, guys.
Okay. Do you want to keep going? I know that I don't want to,
Fine. I don't want to talk anymore. Okay, fine. I'll just have my salad.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, listen, it's been a great. Go to my website, mythicalgardener.com. Sign up for my newsletter.
I did. I got shit because I hadn't, so everybody do that.
I have we'll go real fast, but I have a nonprofit organization. My real name, I have a real name because that's different than this name. And it works with doing the gem elixirs. It works with frequencies. One of the things I actually teach is lucid dreaming. So we can talk about that. Since we can talk about all kinds of stuff. But I'm trying to, you have to guide me to stick to biology because, to me, biology has to do with energy. It has to do with frequency. It has to do with all of it together.
Okay, what's it say at the bottom of the screen, Andy? It says the untold story, and that is energy, frequency, vibration, the biology, everything we talk about is part of it because it's all a synergistic relationship.
But the biology grew up because of the frequencies that they was exposed to. So if you expose the biology to bad frequencies and bad energy, the biology will change. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Anyway, guys, we will see you next Wednesday with Andy. We've got Luna Whitcomb tomorrow night with her new show. So you can check that out tomorrow at 7. And then, of course, Monday, the OG's Power Hour and Avon Layton, The Soil Matters. So, Andy, we'll talk to you in the back end, guys. Have a great night.
Bye.